when it comes to multiplayer FPS games on mobile, it's hard not to think of Pixel Gun 3D. Now, while the game has somewhat fallen off from grace in the past couple of years, with all of the microtransactions and pay-to-win mechanics, there was a time when this game was beloved by fans, and honestly, kinda good.
Good job!
Which is why I wanted to talk about this game. I remember when I was younger, me and my friends would spend hours playing Pixel Gun, but looking back at it, I don't have a lot of memories from the multiplayer mode. Instead, I remember comic strips and really tedious levels that I could never get through entirely and would die halfway in. So a week ago, I decided to revisit Pixel Gun and complete the campaign I never got to finish. So, let's get into it. The story starts with our guy, Newbie, yes, that is his name, being woken up by zombie noises. XD, rawr, rawr. He lives in San Francisco, by the way. Now, because this is America, our protagonist is automatically born with a fast pew-pew, a slow pew-pew, and also a combat-certified butter knife, which he uses to kill enemies. Now, the campaign has 3 difficulties. I played on normal because hard simply makes all the enemies 10 times more tanky and it's just actual tedium. I mean, who would actually play on hard? You would have to be stupid to play this game on hard. Anyways, I sure hope the game doesn't force me to play on hard mode to progress within the story. So in this first level, we are taught the general gameplay loop of this game, and every level is based on this formula, besides 2 levels exactly, which I will talk about when we get to them. For now though, every level abides by this general formula. You spawn in, kill waves of small enemies, you spawn a big boss enemy, and after killing him, you move on to the next level. This level, the first level, is set on a farm, with the boss being a cop zombie with 2 heads. All in all, it's incredibly easy, with all the enemies and even the boss only having a melee attack, so they can't really do anything to you as long as you can walk backwards, and environmental cover being ample, so you really can't lose in this level. After beating the boss, Newbie hears a cry for help, and having no survival instincts, he runs towards it instead of away from it. This level is set on a church with a hedge maze and a graveyard, and unfortunately, we were late. In this level, we are also introduced to the new enemies, a spooky ghost, a slime, and a crawling zombie. The boss here is a ghost that becomes a reoccurring enemy in the future, so don't worry about him. Anyways, we find a evacuation notice next to the game-ended farmer, and we use a nearby police car to drive to the disclosed location in the evac notice. When we reach the location, we realize that this place is in shambles, with body bags littering the sidewalks and military vehicles scattered all over the place. The environmental storytelling is really impressive. I mean, we are never explicitly told what happened here, but we can very safely assume that it was some sort of containment attempt turned to pretty much all-out war, with the military having to neutralize the contaminated people. Anyways, the new enemies in this level are these spitters that are just pretty much ripped off from Silent Hill, and also just normal crows. The boss on this level is also just a retexture from the last boss, but he works for the military this time, so cool, I guess. After finishing the boss off, we find an ID on him that leads to a hospital. And again, Jonathan, no survival instincts, thinks it's a good idea to go to the hospital to find some answers. You know, the hospital, the one place that is guaranteed to be contaminated in a zombie apocalypse. What a great idea. I'm sure nothing will go wrong in the hospital. Now at the hospital, we are greeted with more zombies, you guessed it. But we also get some really cool map details and storytelling bits. Bloody body bags, a lot of bloody body bags, like really a lot. We don't get much new enemies here, and the boss is still just a reskin from the first boss. But this time they have a chainsaw, so that's pretty cool, I guess. Still easy to kill though, not a real problem. After leaving the hospital with no new answers, Newbie spots a helicopter and asks for help to no avail. But following the helicopter, he reaches the Golden Gate Bridge. We see that the bridge is completely destroyed and overridden with zombies, and also spooky scorpion men. The boss in this level is a buff zombie that is rocking a gold chain, and he asks you to go band for band with him. Unfortunately though, you're poor, so he decides to kill you. He basically has one attack, and that's rock throw. So yeah, pretty good boss, 10 out of 10. Anyways, moving forward, we see that the helicopter has crashed into No way they actually made that. Yup, that's the iconic Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, the maximum security federal prison. So then, my man, the absolute Chad, decides to, for whatever reason, go to the crashed helicopter. And how does he do that? I mean, you would at least need a boat to go through Alcatraz. Any normal human being will drown if they try to, I don't know, swim there. He actually swims there. Getting into the place, we realize that the zombie virus has also reached here. One piece of interesting storytelling in this map is this cell with a somewhat explicit poster stuck to the wall. But if we walk through it, we realize that it's actually a hole in the wall being covered up by a poster that the prisoners wanted to escape from. Also, there are interrogation rooms, wink wink, and also the electric chair room. Kids video game, by the way. This is a kids video game. As for the enemies, we get creeper ripoffs that are basically zombie reskins, so there's really nothing to worry about. The boss, though, is where it gets really interesting. The boss has a helmet, which, you know, nothing weird about that. That's just an aesthetic choice. If you look closely, though, he is sparking. Now, why would a prisoner with a helmet on be sparking, I ask you? If you guessed because of a truly horrifying backstory of this guy being infected right before getting the chair, you'd be right. Very cool, developers. I won't be sleeping tonight. So after we put the boss out of his miserable existence, Newbie finds a map on the crashed helicopter that leads us to Area 52, this world's Area 51. But before getting there, we must first go through the park. I'm sure nothing spooky will happen in this jungle park area. The park is more of a horror level, with the lighting being moody and the atmosphere being fairly dark. We also meet a new enemy, Slenderman. Yeah, it's Slenderman. The boss in this level is also Slenderman, but a bit more aggressive. He can also teleport, but it's really not that scary and also not that dangerous. You can easily kill him. After we get rid of him, we start moving towards Area 52, which actually somewhat continues the spooky atmosphere in areas like this. That being said though, the actually interesting part of this level are the enemies. You have this fast little pink lady, and also these tiny aliens, and also Big Alien, which happens to be the boss, which I would say is the first challenging boss of the game because they have projectile weapons. After getting rid of the aliens, we find this random guy hiding in the UFO. He shows us where the monsters came from, and we go there to stop them once and for all. Now, the area that the monsters came from is a school, and I must say this is probably my favorite level in the entire campaign. At first, it looks like a ruined school. Nothing new really, because we have already seen destroyed and abandoned places due to the monsters attacking. But then it slowly shifts. It's almost like two worlds are colliding. Hallways made of metal grating and rusty, almost wild feeling environments. One of the more interesting bits of environmental storytelling in this level is a classroom that looks pretty normal, but next door is the same classroom inverted upside down, with children's laughter being heard in the background, really ominous-like. Overall, really well made. Now from the second I saw this, I immediately thought of Silent Hill. Everything from the rusted environments and the hanging bed frames to the nurses and the pyramid heads screams Silent Hill. But then there's the boss. Oh my god. He has no connection to Silent Hill. It is the most out of place thing in this level, and that was really odd to me considering how everything else fits together. So I looked into it, and apparently this isn't the real boss of the level. The real boss of the level used to be Pyramid Head, but he got changed due to legal reasons. So that's why we're left with this uninspired mess. Anywho, that's a little bit of lore about the game. So yeah, after killing the boss, we move on to World 2. Oh no. So remember the totally not foreshadowing remark about this game forcing you to play it in hard mode? Well, that's exactly what's happening to get access to the next world. We need 3 stars, which means we need to beat the levels on hard mode without taking any HP damage and also killing all the enemies. Now at best these requirements are tedious to achieve, but at worst they can be borderline cruel with how hard and difficult these levels get. For now though, they're just tedious. I will speak on the difficulty later on again, but for now, let's just continue. But wait! It's about time I talked about our sponsor, my Discord, and also subscribe button. My greed for money is everlasting, so please give me your subscription and also join the channel. Finally, World 2, Level 1. So in this level, we drop out of the portal we entered in the school and immediately hear a scream for help. The source of the scream is a teenager being attacked by a giant chicken? Newbie also drops one of the hardest one-liners known to man. Hello, chicken! Good job, man. Good job. So this level is probably where I would say things get really challenging on hard mode, since it's a pretty open map with little natural cover, and also the boss is faster than you. Anyways, the girl that we save is also in this level and will kind of follow us until the next world. So yeah, she just kind of sits around the map doing nothing. Anywho, this level is fairly uninteresting besides the actual boss, who as I said is faster than you. Not to worry though, you can entirely avoid confrontation with him if you stand on one of these buildings, because that will break his pathfinding and he won't be able to follow you. So yeah, Linus tech tips for you. So let's move on. The girl explains that this all started because one day they were digging in the schoolyard with shovels, as one naturally does on a Tuesday afternoon, and that after digging they found a portal and went through it. I'm sorry, I feel like this is all sounding a little too normal. The children dug the schoolyard and found a supernatural anomaly that defies everything we know about physics, and they said, hey, we should jump onto that. What do you think? Makes perfect sense actually, but please continue. She then says that they found a dragon and that she decided to wake him up. She saw a dragon and decided to wake him up. There is only so much absolute idiocy I'm going to excuse. She then says that the dragon sent monsters to our world. I think that is my fault. Oh really? You think that? No way. No, it can't be your fault. So, anyways, before I actually blow a gasket, we got another dope-ass one-liner from Newbie saying, but I know where the dragon lives. Hell yeah, brother. So the next level was set in a desert with mummies and such. The new mummy enemies shoot fireballs, which honestly makes them priority target number 1, as they can easily ruin your 3-star rating. Also, pro tip, enemies don't have pathfinding for the trees and also the top of the mazes, so you can use a flare jump or a jetpack to reach on top of those things and just not fight them at all. I used this to kill the boss of this level. Speaking of the boss, he is this big mummy guy that is completely invulnerable unless you shoot his exposed heart. After you do that though, you just move to the next level, he dies. Just an ancient evil mummy. I'm sorry, just an ancient evil mummy? How many of these do you encounter on a daily basis for this to be just an ancient evil mummy? Anywho, we follow the girl as she leads us to the dragon's lair. We need to find a place to rest. Maybe here? I think it's absolutely safe. I don't know, man, though. Those pigs look pretty spooky. I better not have to fight them. I have to fight them. So in this level, we are kind of just thrown random enemies, with the only new ones being the flying pig that seem to be a reskin of the crows. The boss on this level is a zombie pig, but really what makes this level difficult isn't the boss or the enemies or anything like that. It's actually the fact that this level has no ammo, no health, and no shield. So you basically have to reserve all that. Which meant, to beat the boss of this level, I had to use melee, but honestly it's not a big deal because the boss is not that strong and you can just circle, strafe them, and kill them very easily. So here onwards, it's kind of the same thing. The journey to reach the dragon continues, and we're just on stations, jumping from island to island, getting closer to the dragon, not really going through the story anymore. The next station is the Winter Island. The enemies on this level are more of the same, nothing special, nothing interesting, with the boss being able to easily be cheesed if you just jump on a tree, because yeah, they're not going to be able to follow you. Easy as. So let's move on, I have nothing else to say about this level. So the story at this point, it's just go from random location to another random location with no real cohesion. So now we are in the Fiery Hell level, and it's honestly one of the most annoying levels of the game. It's a small arena with enemies that are fast and can corner you, and worse than that, some of them even have projectiles. On normal and easy difficulty, it's just tedious, but on hard, it gets straight up annoying, where the slightest slip up could mean that you have to restart the level because you won't be getting your 3 stars. And yes, I found this out the hard way. The boss is also a projectile boss that spawns 4 projectile enemies with him, so it's just pain to cheese him. To actually juke him, you need to stand on high ground in a way that you have an angle on him, but he doesn't have an angle on you. Trust me, if it sounds tedious and super luck based, it's because it is. Anyways though, after dying inside a little, aka beating that boss, we move on to the next level, being the final level of the chapter, and it's absolutely, positively the worst level of the game. Well, it's a close contender. I'm reserving that title for something truly horrid. This level was just a big arena. No cover, no environmental storytelling, nothing. But that's not where the bad ends. It's also filled with tanky enemies that take ages to die, and there is no way to cheese it. So trust me, if you want to ace this level, you're gonna be here a lot. Even the slightest bit of mistake could mean, you guessed it, restart the entire thing again and waste 20 minutes killing hordes of enemies that just have a lot of health and nothing more to them. The boss here is the dragon. Now, this boss is hard. The dragon hits hard and is very fast, so the only way I found to beat him on hard difficulty would be to use my pet. So basically my pet would attack the dragon and distract her while I shoot her, and then I run from one side of the arena to the other side until it loses aggro, then I go back to shooting it while my pet also attacks it. And then you rinse and repeat this utterly boring process until they are dead. On other difficulties though, even though it's still hard, you can use your flare gun to shoot her while also launching yourself back to not get hit by her attack. I'ma be real, this level was really annoying, because it had none of the things that made the first chapter good, and it was honestly just a bad experience. I wouldn't even wish this on my worst enemy. So after this, the dragon tells us that he will get rid of the monsters in our world, but that the monsters are not our biggest worry. He tells us that our biggest problem is the fact that we are square. So then we ride the dragon to the next world, where he takes us to a jungle-like arena that he can't enter because it's made for creatures out of this world. Okay. World 3 level 1 is set in this swamp-like area next to a volcano, and by far has the most new enemies introduced. We have bats, spooky ghost-like people, and also trees? Yeah, we literally get to fight evil trees. Whatever, I guess. The strats for this level are to get on top of the swamp trees and basically slowly kill all the enemies. Doing this, you will face no risk at all in this level. The boss here is just a big spider, nothing special, nothing really creative either, so let's just move on. After killing the spider, we find out that it's wearing a necklace with a key attached to it. So we steal the key and enter the worst level in this game. This level is garbage. The music is generic 2010s dubstep. The actual map is just a big rectangle with no cover, no cheesing zones, and the enemies are just really tanky. Oh yeah, and projectile enemies? Yeah, they just included in as well, just for good measure. Even the boss is a projectile enemy, but don't worry though, the pain doesn't end there. The boss also spawns in with 2 guards that are incredibly tanky, also very quick, meaning the only real way to beat this level without somehow cheesing it is to either move around constantly hoping to get one shot in every 2 minutes without being shot out, or just buying better guns with real money. Honestly, this level really made me question how much I wanted to continue playing this game. Because really, this was torture. It was insanity, just doing the same thing over and over and over again.
Same fucking thing, over and over again.
After you defeat the wizard, he gives you some lore. He says that our world was made by the great creator and that it was magnificent at some point. We also get to see this flashback to how the world used to look. But then, evil monsters came and deformed the world into the cubic mess that it is today. Overall, the wizard is actually super cooperative. I mean, the guy really doesn't seem like a bad person. Anyways, I'm sure the guy won't do anything that will negatively impact us from here onwards. Oh no, he tricked us. Who could have seen this coming? The guy sends us to a alien spaceship. Luckily though, it's not the first time we've fought aliens, but this time, it's gonna be quite a lot harder. Because they've discovered freedom technology. As expected, this level is in space, and we can actually see Earth from here, so that's pretty cool. The actual level though is mid. It's nothing special, very obviously an arena map with no real care given to how it fits into the actual story. And the boss here is really dangerous as they can shoot rockets and easily take away your health, but honestly, as long as you keep your distance, you will be fine in this fight. So after defeating the boss, we start to pack our stuff and go to Earth using one of the aliens' UFOs. Because we learned how to use an alien UFO. I don't know how, I don't know where, it just happens, okay? Just go with it. Anyways, moving forward, as you can imagine, the US government wouldn't take very fondly to aliens suddenly deciding to drop by, and considering we arrived with their gear, their vehicles, they just start a full-on war with us because they think this is some sort of invasion. And I think this is the first time Newbie actually kills people? Like real human beings, not just monsters or humans turned monster. Honestly, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, on one side you could say it's self-defense, but the morality of the situation is never discussed, as if it's just business as usual. Oh, another Thursday, another human to kill, as it happens. It's very odd. Moral dilemmas aside, in this level we also learn what the American taxpayers' money has gone towards. A mecha soldier that, although weak, was still cool to look at. After killing the boss, we used the jetpacks left by some other soldiers to go to some guy's house. If I sound confused, it's because I am. When was this even mentioned? I swear, this guy never came up in a single comic. Did we just telepathically find him for the sake of the story to move forward? Yeah, pretty sure. Anyways, we learned that this random guy we found is the creator. No though, actually this guy is a game developer and he was creating a wonderful game until he created a unrecoverable bug. And somehow this bug started changing their game's code, and then the world began to transform. You know what, man? It's okay. Fine, man. Whatever. I'm not even gonna try. So the developer says that we can enter the game and fix the bug. So we do. But not before dropping this doozy of a one-liner. It's starting to really bug me.
Do you honestly think you're fucking funny?
So I should probably apologize in advance. This part of the game has a lot of moving parts, so it will not look very good on YouTube because of the bitrate, so yeah, I'm sorry. This level is a Matrix type area with the background being literally a reference to the Matrix code, you know, the green little squiggly lines, the hacker code. The enemies on this level are mostly enemies from older levels just being reused in this level, which I guess kind of contextually makes sense because this is the game developers den or whatever, I don't know. So you will see dragons in this level as well as zombies and so on and so forth. Thankfully though, you can cheese this level entirely by getting on top of the trees. The boss in this level is a bug, though he looks suspiciously like the mutant zombie mod, if anybody remembers that. Anyways though, the boss's special ability is that he can teleport from area to area. It's not really a big deal, as long as you switch trees every now and then, you're probably fine, the boss is not that dangerous. After we beat him, we get... Did you know when you kill the bug, you become the bug? I'm sorry, what? So yeah, apparently that's how it works. Just turn your brain off and accept the slop this game is offering. So yeah, now we have become a bug. Okay, let's move on to the final world. Let my misery come to an end. Before we do, here's the deal. I have a confession to make. I didn't make it to World 4. It's not that I didn't want to, but honestly, spending upwards of 20 minutes in the same level trying to cheese bosses just so I can ace every level and unlock the last world was just too damn tedious and annoying, man. So, for the last world, I will be using clips from the YouTube channel called Autumn Leaf. I'll not be using any more than I need to. When I just need background B-roll, I will be using my own gameplay. But when I do need to show something that's very specific to the World 4, I will bring those up. So yeah, you might not like this choice, but for my own sanity, I just could not take it anymore. Anyways, moving on, we soon get saved by a Morpheus-type character and get taken aboard his ship, which then gets attacked by robots. Now, this is the first of those levels that I said at the beginning of the video that are not like the other levels and have a different gameplay loop. The difference in this level is that we need to protect generators, and the enemies will focus the generators. So just keep the enemies off the generators and you're good. After fighting off the birds and beating their boss, we get a little lore from Morpheus. Apparently, the person behind all of this is Cubic. Now, why is Cubic the enemy? Because they apparently make games and trap those who enter the games. Morpheus says that we should start a revolution and stop Cubic once and for all. But in doing so, we need the help of the champions. The champions are the most powerful players found in the Cubic games. The first champion is the champion of Kubota 2. And to get him to join us, we need to outplay him. Basically, do the exact thing we were doing up until now. Find monsters, beat the boss, next level. After beating the champion of Kubota, we need to beat the champion of the teleportal game. So the reason I don't talk about the new enemies here is because they're just mostly reskins of older enemies, and I really rather not use more of other people's content than I need in this video, so yeah, that's the reason. And for the next champion, the most scary one, the parkour champion. Legend has it, children are still stuck on this level and cannot pass it. This level is terrible. It's a parkour map on a mainly mobile game with limited checkpoints and insta-kill barriers. All of this makes this level one of the worst and hardest levels in this game, and probably actually in a lot of games. It's just bad game development decision after bad game development decision. Anyways, after beating this level, we basically have gathered the 3 champions and we make our way to the Cubic Citadel, where we find our main antagonist. Us? I cannot believe Doom Eternal copied this game. So this level is set on top of the Citadel with green humans that are basically the enemies. And the main baddie uses a minigun, which lowers his movement speed, meaning he's actually not that hard to deal with. After beating the boss though, we realized that he was just a guard. And the main villain is a Rubik's Cube? I mean, the guy's name is Cubic, I don't know what I expected. We go in alone to finish him once and for all. And this map is fine. It's alright, it looks like a 3D Tetris game, but honestly, that doesn't matter. The cool thing about this level is not the map, is not the enemies, it's the boss. The Rubik's Cube. The Rubik's Cube is the only boss with multiple attacks. He has different faces that shoot different projectiles, which makes him by far the most unique boss yet. So that was honestly pretty cool to see. Actual game design in a video game, pretty cool guys, keep it up. After beating him, you get a high score that states, you are now the Revolution Champion. Wait a second. So it was all in the game. Yup, it's an all in the head story. Let's go. So yeah, we go back to the beginning of the chapter with the armada of enemy drones approaching and Morpheus needing to tell us something. And that is where the story ends, for now. Though, seeing as how Pixelgun is doing lately, I don't really know if they have the kind of budget to spend on another addition to the campaign. Anyways though, how was it? Well, I definitely remember being very fond of it as a kid, but playing it now, I feel as if I was blinded by nostalgia. Don't get me wrong, the first chapter was great. It had a clear story in mind and told it well enough for a campaign in a mainly multiplayer game. However, the following chapters slowly lost the magic of the first one and became worse and worse, to the point where by the end, nothing much was happening in any of the levels. They were just large arenas that didn't connect well at all, and yeah, it was honestly mid. I wish the best for Pixel Gun devs, and I hope they do backtrack on some of the very bad decisions they made. For now though, I'm happy I played this game again, even if now it has become full of microtransactions and pay-to-win mechanics. And honestly, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and bye.